I've never done this before. I'm doing it for the first time.
Okay, yes. So we are live. This is my YouTube channel, Red Egg Screen Unveiled, where I talk about Bangladesh cricket and football both. We support Bangladesh sports. And today I've got a special guest from Sri Lanka. Could you briefly introduce yourself to the fans?
Hi guys. Thank you first and foremost for getting me on board. I think this is the first time I'm doing this. I've been
Mhm.
doing content for the past two years, I guess, almost 1.5 years.
Mhm.
So my obviously you can see it. It's called Hard Talk with Udit Tirosh. We are on TikTok and we're on YouTube.
Mhm.
Started off in TikTok, and now for the last year we've been on YouTube as well. So it's a
Nice.
podcast and focusing a lot on Sri Lankan cricket
Mhm.
because I think there was a massive vacuum in terms of the fans' knowledge on our domestic cricket, and the
Mhm.
whole idea of this channel and this content was to educate the Sri Lankan fan base on there's something called domestic system that's happening, and to
Mhm.
talk about players who really do not get that space because Sri Lankan cricket domestic is not shown on any it's not telecasted. So I thought that it's a good way of getting the fans to mature, and that's how
Mhm.
we started, and we've come far. Yes.
Yeah. So I saw that you were doing live while watching yesterday's game, and I saw that you got excited the way Sri Lanka played yesterday. So we're gonna come to that definitely. Like I have never seen such a big collapse before. I think you have also never seen such a collapse before. Since you are on the winning side, you are happy. I'm on the losing side. I'm really disappointed with my team. But I just want to talk about the pitch first a bit. This is not the first time that a team scored 100 runs in like losing just one or two wickets, and then they were like they also had a collapse. And I'm talking about big teams like India and Australia. So if you could just give me a brief insight into what happens in Colombo after like 15 to 19 15 to 20 overs in the second innings.
Yeah, it was first and foremost. Again, it was surprising. Well, not all that much because if I'm sure you wouldn't have understood because we did the whole live in Sinhala.
Yeah.
I predicted this, right? When Bangladesh was off to that start, 100 for one wicket, good partnership
Mm.
building there, and most of our fans were like, "Look, we've done. This match is gone. We've lost this game. We're going to lose this by at least 8 wickets."
Yeah.
And for me, at that moment, I think it was around the 14th or 15th over, and I was like, just be patient. 25th over, if you can get that breakthrough between Shanto and Tanzid
Mm.
before the 20th over, if you can get that wicket
Yeah.
by the 25th over, you might see a lot of change. And that's
Mm.
exactly what happened. And this has been predictable in terms of the R. Premadasa wicket for the last probably a year, since probably after Sanat Jaiswal took over as a head coach, right?
Yeah.
And what I think international fans and local fans should understand is Sanat Jaiswal is a guy, he wants to win, right? And he's going to
Mm.
win somehow, right? And that's
Yeah.
a massive criticism that comes from the Sri Lankan fans as well, that they're preparing wickets that are not of standard, the modern cricket standard, right?
Yeah. Mm.
Which I have a different opinion on, vastly different opinion. But that's how the Al Premadasa wicket has been behaving for the past six,
I mean,
7 months. And you saw
I
that
think
India came and
I
struggled,
can relate with
Australia
you.
struggled,
Yeah.
especially in the ODI format.
Mm.
Um, and winning that toss is very, very important. Yes, we were 30 runs short, right? I was sure we were 30 runs short. Most of the wickets that, more than Bangladesh actually picking our wickets, we gave our wickets away.
Yeah.
And we should have gone to 275. But anything close to 300 on that wicket is very, very tough to chase. And the other thing is in Katharam, what you would see is it's very tough for a new batsman to get in, to settle. Right? So when you are settled, you shouldn't lose your wicket.
Yeah.
And it was Tanzid, I think, who got the 60 odd. He shouldn't have given his wicket away when Shanto had got run out also. I think that was key. That wicket, that catch by Janit Lineage, that was key. And when you're settled on that wicket at our Premadas at Kitarama, you need to go on and make a big score. And Charita Salanka showed that. He proved that. Right?
Mm.
He was in the wicket.
Mm.
I mean, even Kusal Mendy struggled even though he was in. right?
Hmm.
So Chayat Asalanka showed, this is how you play at Kittarama, this is how you play the long innings, and he went and scored that 100. And if not for that, I think we would have also fallen short to about 180 to 200 runs. So that is something any visiting team should keep in mind when they come and play at Kittarama. If you're settled, if you get in, you need to go and get that big score,
I think
which
I can.
Bangladesh totally lost.
Yeah, I think I can relate with what mindset Sri Lanka is going right now. We also have Mirpur. I think you might know this as well. The Mirpur pitch is also something quite similar. I think we have got Mustafizur Rahman, especially Mustafiz, and then before we used to have Shakib Al Hassan and Miraj. So we got this three trio who would definitely like destroy any batting lineup. So we also did the same. We
Correct.
scored something around 220, 230, and then let the batsmen let them bat second innings and get the wickets. We defeated Australia, New Zealand on a very turning deck in T20s, especially.
Yes.
So I think what Asian teams like to do is take home advantage, and I think home advantage is a thing you can take. And I mean, even if you see like England, Australia, they also take these advantages, right? They make bouncy
Correct.
pitches. Yeah. So different fans say a
Completely
lot
agree.
about people like people say that when people are taking home advantage, that means people can't perform in overseas conditions. To some extent, that might be right. What do you think about that? Like, if you make a turning deck in Sri Lanka like that, do you think Sri Lanka would be able to win matches, ODI matches in, for example, English conditions or Australian conditions?
Look, to be honest, this argument has been going on for a long, long time, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think it's all fair and square. If the Sena countries can do that, right?
Hmm.
Why shouldn't South Asian countries do the same, right? And that's the
Hmm.
beauty of the sport.
Hmm.
Conditions. What the modern fan does not understand. See, I'm from an older generation, right? I'm a millennial.
Hmm. Yeah.
So what I've seen cricket in the 90s, right? We've been used to that.
Hmm.
What they don't understand is conditions play a part in the sport. It's a part of it. It's
Yeah.
not the 11 players. The 11 players are there, the 22 players are there, the umpires are there, but conditions also play a part, and that's what makes this sport so beautiful. And that's what makes this sport what it is. It's the second most popular sport in the world,
Yeah.
and that's why it went there. And I think with the advent of T20 cricket, the whole mentality, the mindset of even the fans has been, batting more batting friendly. Have those wickets where batsmen can actually clear boundaries, and that ball comes onto the bat. I mean, that was as at an entertainment level.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, even the ICC, I've got a lot of fans in Sri Lanka also who say, what are we doing on wickets like this? When you go to India, it's a totally different ballgame. But
Yeah.
even the ICC has reverted back on their rules, right? With the now, the new rule with the 35th over, you pick one of the. So they are going back to that 90s cricket, right? That's what they're trying to do. They're
Hmm.
trying to create a
Hmm.
balance between bat and ball.
Hmm.
So what we need to understand is cricket is not only about bowling and hitting a six. That's it. It's
Yeah.
not. There's so much more involved in cricket,
Hmm.
and the
Hmm.
whole point of actually, reading the pitch, right, understanding the pitch and the home and away conditions is what makes cricket such a beautiful sport. And I think the
Yeah.
fans need to understand that as well. And I think I saw a lot of content on TikTok, after the first ODI, with British and content creators in Australia and all, and they actually enjoyed the game. Right? This is
Hmm.
90s ODI cricket all over again. You score 250 and you can actually win a game. So I think we've gotten used to a different kind of cricket over the last
Hmm.
10, 15 years, that we expect everything to be that. And to be honest, if fans think that every wicket has to be a batting wicket, then I
Yeah.
think ICC should come up and say, this is the standard wicket, this is what we want all around the world,
Yeah.
and you cannot
Right.
do that, right? You
Hmm.
cannot practically do that because I jokingly say sometimes, why don't you put a cement wicket? Done.
Hmm.
Everybody gets the same thing, right?
Hmm.
But you can't do it because every different countries use different clay, right? You get the
Hmm.
black clay, you get the red clay, right? And all of these things, behave, vastly different from each other.
Yeah.
So I think this argument needs to continue, and I think we as fans also have to mature and understand the sport first.
Do you think so? We were talking a lot about the pitch. So, do you think if if a visiting team is chasing something around 250, it is actually like possible to score there, or is it like very very hard to go around and chase something like 250? Because my thing is that Sri Lanka has got quality spin definitely, but if you see yesterday, they got two quality spinners. That is one in the Hasaranga and Mahesh Theekshana. Because if you ask me, Charit Asalanka and Kamindu Mendes, they're still, I would consider them to be part timers, no?
Yeah, but if you look at Chahit Asalanka, especially, bowls a lot in the domestic circuit. And
Yeah.
I think both Bangladesh cricket and Sri Lanka cricket, where we are suffering is our domestic system. Right? And if you
Yes.
look at our major league tournament, that's the Division One, and we've got a new concept of NSL, National Super
Mm,
League, where about
mm,
150 of the best players play. But if you look at the major
yeah.
league, it's turning wickets, and 180, 200, 220 is like the norm. And
Mm,
you get bowlers like Charit Asalanka bowling in these wickets, right? So I honestly I've seen Charit Asalanka since school, and I think he's a better bowler than people actually call him, right?
mm,
Sri Lankan fans also, they're like, this is it's a spinning wicket, and if Charit Asalanka picks wickets, that means there's no use winning,
mm,
which is not. I just find it a bit illogical.
yeah.
Um, and honestly, Vanidu, if you look at Vanidu has not been in great form. He's come back after injuries.
Yes.
He has a weight problem that he needs to manage.
Mm-hmm.
Even Mahesh Theekshana has not been in great form. But
Mm,
you know, on your question about how foreign teams are going to come and play here, I think we've answered that question. It's about getting in, right? Take your time, get in, settle down, and then you go ahead and make those scores. So it's a 250. 250 is an average. If you look at an average score of 250, that's 5 runs per over, right?
yeah.
And that's not much, right? And if you settle down, if you understand the wicket as soon as possible, scoring is not going to be a problem. As long as you build those partnerships and you don't throw your wicket away. Now, Shanto's wicket was a throwaway, right?
Yes.
Tanzil, if I'm
Mm,
not mistaken, after that 60, it was a throwaway, right? All the others struggle, obviously, because these guys have been in, they know how the wicket is going, and they were comfortable too. So that's where they went wrong. Um, I mean, if you go to England, you go to Australia, you go to New Zealand. Now, New Zealand, when we go to New Zealand, Sri Lanka especially, we suffer a lot because of the weather, right?
mm,
I mean, we come from a tropical country, and you go
yeah.
to the cold weather, your
Mm,
hands don't work, right? So
yes.
we go through the same thing, and we go on to grain wickets, which we don't even see in Sri Lankan
Mm,
conditions, right? Forget
mm,
domestic. I mean, whatever you have in place, you are never used to it, right? Even if you have gone 5 tours in your career, it's new for you, right? It's not going to
mm,
be easy. So the same goes to all countries coming to Asian countries, visiting South Asian countries, and that's why I'm surprised by Bangladesh is struggling a lot, right?
yeah.
We bowled well, we took our catches well, right? So that is an advantage, obviously. But if you look at the whole ball game, they should have. It's about staying in the wicket. It's about trying to rotate strike and stay in the wicket, get yourself a good start. Because once that happens in a low score, wins for 240, and you're 100 for one, the other team is obviously going to, start worrying, right? But now it's become such a norm that I don't think our players worry at all, and that's working for us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to be honest, winning is what I mean. If you look at cricket for Sri Lanka from probably between 2016 and 19,
Mm,
we've had a torrid time. We lost at home as well, right? And
mm,
winning is a habit which Bangladesh also needs to start getting from somewhere,
yeah.
and we are getting that habit, right? We've managed to build that habit of winning. We've built that habit of challenging teams. Home conditions, yes, but that confidence will carry along with you when you go for tours in Senara countries, and when you go for away tours. So it's simple. It might sound simple, but it's complicated. But for foreign teams, I think the best way is to prepare yourself and play those long innings.
Yeah, I think we talked a lot about Sri Lanka doing really well yesterday. Now, I want to mention some about Bangladesh. I mean, we need to take some positives from the game. So, I would like to ask you about how did you feel about Taskin's comeback? Because Taskin Ahmed is a player that he was struggling a lot. He had a very bad injury, but coming back from injury and getting 4 wickets, and it was like we be honest, the conditions were really hard because it was so hot and humid. We had three
Yes.
players that walked off. Yeah.
I've always been a fan of Tuskin since his debut.
Mm.
He's
Yeah.
been one of those bowlers when you look at them, you can say these guys are going to go far, right? And he's got
Yeah.
a beautiful run up. He's got a beautiful move into the crease, and he's
Mm.
just he gets that extra bounce of a good length.
Mm.
He's been a superb find for Bangladesh, and I think he's been a
Mm.
great servant over the years. Yes, he's got
Mm.
injury concerns, but every time he gets the ball, you get bowlers like that. I mean, if you look at Sri Lanka, we've got bowlers like Damka Prasad, even Asada Fernando. You give them the ball, every delivery for them is they give 100%. And
Right.
Tuskin is that kind of a bowler.
Mm.
Um, and he bowled really, really well. And honestly, I think it took our batsmen by surprise as well, right?
Mm.
Because if you look at the first three wickets, first four wickets, the bounce that he was getting, right, or the
Yeah.
good length sometimes, we just couldn't, right? That
Mm.
was the tough part.
Mm.
And Bangladesh has got so much of talent. I don't know what's going wrong for them. But Tuscan is a superb find, and there was what's his name during the
Nine
test,
runner.
Mahmood,
Oh, Hassan Mahmood. Yeah,
Mahmood, I
yeah.
think.
Mm-hmm.
That's another good talent Bangladesh have got, and I think they should work on them. And I think he is going to be. I'm just predicting things. He's going to be a major servant of Bangladesh cricket in the future, especially in Test cricket. So I think the fast bowlers took our guys by surprise. Um, it's just that Bangladesh couldn't pick the wickets in the
Yeah.
middle overs. The
But I
spinners
think the
really didn't
credit should go
do
to the
well.
way Charita Saranka batted. I mean, I
Exactly.
think,
It was how
yeah.
Charita Sri Lanka batted, totally. And
Because
Janakliya negated.
during that time, I mean, there was nothing Miraj could do out of the extraordinary. To like, he did what he had. He brought in players, and he brought in Taskin Ahmed there, and then Tanvir bowled really well. There was some turn for Tanvir as well. So I think at that stage, Charita Sri Lanka really controlled the way Sri Lanka batted.
Exactly. And also, I think we are forgetting the fact that Bangladesh is playing without their golden four players. I think five golden players
Yeah,
after
yeah.
I think 2006 or seven, right?
Mm,
And this is a new start for Bangladesh. I know
yeah.
people are trolling the Bangladeshi team. For 25 years you've not improved, but I think
Mm,
this is an opportunity, right?
mm,
And Mehdi is a guy who's got experience. He was the under 19 captain in 2016. He's
yeah,
got
yeah,
those
yeah.
leadership qualities. It's time that the Bangladesh dressing room changed, right?
Mm,
And I think Mehdi Hassan can do that. He's got a good pool of young talent also, and he needs to set the terms. But for Bangladeshi fans, honestly, I think you need to be patient. I know they've been patient for 25 years. Honestly, I've
mm,
been patient for 25 years. I
mm,
think we had this chat. My best friend going to school was a Bangladeshi. And I
mm,
loved when they, got the test status. I was a massive fan of Bangladesh cricket.
mm,
And it's actually
mm.
disappointing to see them where they are. Right?
Yeah.
We plateaued. It's not only Bangladesh. I mean, you look at Sri Lanka, you look at Pakistan, we plateaued all of a sudden after our golden
Mm,
age, right? And that is a lot to do with how the administrations have gone about their business and all of that. But I think this is a key moment for Bangladesh cricket. It's now. I mean, if you look at the Test series also, they played really, really well in the Galle Test, right? Yes, the pitch was not exactly Galle,
mm,
but they
mm.
played really, really well. Second Test, I think their whole energy in that first Test match it just left
Yeah.
them when they came into the second. I don't
Yeah.
know what happened, but I think this is a new start, and I think the fans need to give space. You've got a new captain who is now white ball captain, and he's red ball captain as well. Give him that space. Give him the space to figure out his people, right? His resources, and I think the management also needs to have hope and faith in
Mm.
these players, and that's very, very important. We did it. Sri Lanka did it, and we got out of the hole. Now we are, looking at 2027 World Cup for the ODI World Cup. We've got almost 10 players already settled in that squad of 15, right? And we've done that because we've put faith in those players and given them the opportunity because they got there. Even Bangladesh, I mean, there's so much of competition when you look at domestic and all that, and they've done well to be at national level,
Mm.
right? So fans should stop expecting the Bangladesh cricket team and the Sri Lanka cricket team to be India, right? The resources we have and the amount of competition and the amount of players playing is vastly different to India.
I think the Bangladesh, if you watch Bangladesh cricket, they have been struggling against spin for a very long time. Again, in Champions Trophy, we struggled against New Zealand against their spinners. Against India, also we struggled against their spinners. So I think for Bangladesh, especially the domestic level, I think we need to work on how to play the spinners well. That's where Bangladesh is having a major setback. Yeah. So that's what I was saying. That I think if you see the defenses of how Bangladesh batted yesterday, especially Tawhid Ridoy, and yeah. So what I was saying is that if you see the way Tawhid Ridoy and Liton Kumar Das played against the spinner, I think that was not the proper shot to play. Especially Ridoy, if you could see his wicket, there was a major gap between the bat and the stump. So that was easy for someone like Wanindo Hasaranga to give that wrong end, and I think that was predictable. But Tawhid Ridoy really missed that, and that's where I think Ridoy was one of the key batsmen there during that time. And also regarding Liton Das, I think it's a very big like sad story for us how Liton Das. I think he was supposed to be one of the best. Right now he has tons of experience. At this point, he was supposed to be one of Bangladesh's key batsmen, but his story has been so sad. Like I don't know why. I think in Test he's a much better player, and we did see that. But in ODI cricket, I don't know why, but Liton Das has been struggling for a very long time. Because if you see yesterday's game, the way Jakir Ali Onik batted, if he had at just one or two batsmen, if he had either Miraj or Leighton Das staying there, just just seeing off the balls, just like defending it, then I think Bangladesh got a really good chance. And mentioning about Jakir Ali Onik, I think this is also one of the biggest find for us. He has been really good. I think this Test series hasn't been his best, but if you have seen, he has scored 50 in every Test matches except the ones in Sri Lanka. And also in the ODI series last we played in against West Indies, he was one of the highest scorers. And also in the Champions Trophy, he played really well against India and New Zealand. So I was very excited to see Jakir Ali Onik, and he did perform, but it was too late to be honest.
Too late. I think he needs to back a bit. Let's start with Rutan Das and how Bangladesh is struggling with spin, and which is surprising,
Hmm.
right? I'm not really aware of how the domestic structure works and how the wickets are there are
Hmm.
in the domestic levels, but they it's surprising that they cannot play spin, right? And what is going wrong? So usually, what I feel when that move from domestic cricket to international cricket happens, and while a lot of people struggle, is mentality, right?
Hmm.
It's completely mental strength, right? And that mindset. We, Bangladesh has the same issue. Sri Lanka has the same issue, right? We've got a lot of domestic players who do really well. They come to international cricket and they're lost, right?
I mean,
So
look
system
at
has to change.
Enamul
There's a
Haq
different
Bijoy.
story.
Like Enamul Haq Bijoy is a prime example of that. Yeah.
Exactly. So see, there is a gap between international cricket and domestic cricket, right? And Sri Lanka has been working on this for the past 6, 7 years, and we've cracked the code. I feel right. We brought this national super league in. We had a major league tournament, which is the club levels, and then we brought an extra provincial tournament on top of that,
Hmm.
which actually gives the international infrastructure and all of that, right?
Hmm.
So we've bridged that gap a bit. We've got more Sri Lanka A games. We've got a lot of emerging games. We've offered contracts to all these teams. The national pool has contracts. Sri Lanka A has contracts. The emerging squad has contracts, and we've got another 45 domestic cricketers who's got contracts, right? And out of that, even in the those domestic contracts, we have a category of players who are over 35. So we're trying to keep them in the system as well,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
we've cracked that code, and we because of now Sri Lanka is going on tour of Australia, right? And even the emerging side is getting foreign tours, and this has only been happening the last 2 years, right? So we've made that change. So for me, why if a player is doing well in domestic, right? He, forget the conditions, forget the how the pitches work. They are confident, right? So if they're not coming and actually showing results in international cricket, it is mindset,
Hmm.
right? They come in, they know they've got pressure. I mean, the fans in Bangladesh and Sri Lanka,
Hmm. Yeah.
how they are, right? So that pressure is there.
Hmm.
And they're human, right? These cricketers.
Hmm.
What we fail to understand is cricket fans. These are humans as well,
Hmm.
and I think it's mindset. And both these managements, these administrations have to work on that,
Hmm.
because there's no way that a Bangladeshi batsman cannot play spin,
Hmm.
right? It's surprising.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, as far as Little Das is concerned, look, Vanidu Hasranga bowls the googly more than he bowls the leg spinner.
Yeah.
Right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
you have analysts who've worked
Exactly.
on it, right? You've got analysts who know what is going to happen. You know Vanidu Hasarang is going to bowl you first up. He's going to bowl you that
I
googly.
think he was
You
he
know
was
that.
out in the exact same way in the T20 World Cup against Wanindo Hasaranga
Correct.
in the
Yeah. So
2024
he's
T20 World Cup. Hmm.
so Vanidu Hasarang. If there's a weakness, that's his weakness. But his googly is really really good. It's
Hmm.
really really good. It
Yeah.
skids off the wicket. And when the conditions are right, it's lethal. But you have to be at that level, right? I mean, you've got so much of experience. You're a talented cricketer. And if you're missing balls like that, it puts a lot of pressure on the youngsters coming behind you, right? And I think that is something that the Bangladeshi board needs to work on. I'll tell you one thing that I felt, right? A lot of people talk about the Sangakaras, the Mahelas,
Hmm.
in Sri Lanka cricket. If you look at Mushfiqur, Shakib Al Hassan,
Yeah.
Mustafa Mustaza, Tamim
Hmm.
Iqbal.
Hmm.
You know why these guys would play good cricket for a long period of time? Because they knew behind them in the domestic level there are good players, right?
Right.
There are very good players. The structure is good. I'm not talking about Bangladesh, but Sri Lanka, that's how it worked, right? So everybody thinks that Sangakkara was
Hmm.
amazing, Mahila was amazing, but they knew if they failed, there's a
Hmm.
lot of domestic cricketers, massively talented cricketers who will
Hmm.
take their place. So that made them go to another level of working on their game. So as soon as
Hmm.
you get comfortable on your position, right, it's tough to build. Now, if you look at 2015 to 2020, 21 of Sri Lanka
Hmm.
cricket, we got comfortable with some of the players, like people like Nirosan Dikkala, even the
Hmm.
likes of Sal Mendes, Avishka Fernando, all of them. They're
Hmm.
comfortable. They are not comfortable anymore. I can guarantee you that because you got some really good cricketers in the domestic arena who are doing well in Sri Lanka, who are doing well in emerging, and these guys are really eyeing for these positions, right? And
Yeah.
that's making the permanent players play better, right?
Hmm.
So that is there, and that I think the boards, especially. I mean, I think the Bangladesh board, the Sri Lanka board, we're quite afraid of the fans, right? And we shouldn't. These things
Hmm.
take time to change. Nothing's going to happen overnight, but the change needs to be made, right?
Hmm.
I'm sure you know the Bangladesh board. There's a lot of turmoil there. There's a lot of things
Yeah.
happening, and
Hmm.
they try to get quick fixes. There's no quick fixes for this. And if you go for quick fixes, which we did from 2015 to 19, we used some 40, 50 players in 1 year, right?
Hmm.
And that didn't work. So we're looking for quick fixes. And what happens is domestic players who are good, they come to international cricket. There's a massive gap there, and they fail. They lose all their confidence, and they're nowhere to be found,
Hmm.
right? So the boards need to have a clear plan. Look at the next, what, 4 years, 5 years maybe, and build that structure to a way where you can get those competitive players coming in and don't lose hope in these kids, right? I mean, they're
Hmm.
good cricketers, don't lose hope, right? And people like Liton Das need to be replaced. I'm sure Bangladesh has more players. I mean, look at
Yeah.
their
No.
age grade cricket. Under 19
Bangladesh.
teams are superb.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, that's what I was coming to. But Bangladesh under 19 team, they won the Asia Cup, the last Asia Cup that was the under 19 Asia Cup. Bangladesh won that. We have got players in the circuit, but when these players, even these players, Tohid Ridoy, Shoriful, Tanzim Saqib, Tanzit Tamim, these all came from the under 19 winning team against India back in 2022. So when these players come to the international circuit, I think there's a massive gap between the international circuit and the domestic circuit, and that is because they don't play much A games. They don't play much emerging games, which Bangladesh is considering right now. But and I think this is a major issue for Bangladesh team. But one place where Bangladesh has improved a lot is their pace bowling. I think even in the Test and ODI series, I feel like Bangladeshi paces are slightly better than Sri Lanka in terms of the pace attack. Spinners, if you ask me, definitely Sri Lankans are way above Bangladesh right now because we got only Miraj. Rishad, and Tanvir. Except that we don't have any spinners. If you consider about Sri Lanka, they still have Dunit Wellalag and Jeffrey Van der Sar in the bench, who haven't played yet. So I think Pacers wise, the competition you were talking about exactly, because if you see Hassan Mahmood, Nahid Rana, they are very good bowlers, but they can't be in the squad because Taskin Mustafiz and Tanzim Sakib are better than them. So that's what that competitiveness creates, that Bangladesh pace attack so strong right now. But if you talk about the batting lineup, like Liton Das, if you know this, his average has been 1.5 in ODI cricket. But he's still being selected because we don't have anyone to replace him in that level. We have Naim Sheikh, but Naim Sheikh is an opener. We have got Parvez Hussain Imran, he's also an opener. So we don't got a middle order batsman that can replace Liton Das. If you got to replace Liton Das, you got to bring in Naim Sheikh. Naim Sheikh got to bat number 3, number 4, or Miraj got to come in and bat number 3, number 4. That has been a major issue. Miraj has been batting everywhere. He has batted number 7, he's batted number 8, he has opened innings, and now he's batting number 3, number 4. That's where Bangladesh batting has been like in a massive collapse. Even Shanto opened last game against New Zealand, and now he's playing one down against Sri Lanka. So that's where Bangladesh batting has been struggling a lot. But see Tanzit Hassan Tamim, he has been set. He's an opener, and because of that, he has been batting really well. Every series he has been performing. You have to have a set mindset going into a series. You just can't make your team whatever you like based on the situation. It has to be always set.
Exactly. I mean, see, I mean, this is something that I've been trying to push through as an idea even to our fans, right? We also are very, very good at, why don't we take DDS and put him as opener? Why don't we put him, let him come at number 5? You can't do that to players, right?
Yeah.
I have a very good theory for this. I mean, if you're an opener all your life,
Yeah.
right? Since you were in school, you're an opener. You've
Hmm.
struggled, you've done well, you've come into club cricket, you've been an opener, you've done well, you've come to the verge of getting selected to the national team. And the
Hmm.
selectors go and take a number 6 batsman of the national team and puts
Hmm.
them as opener. What are you going to feel
Hmm.
as a domestic player? You're going to
Yeah.
lose confidence. I worked my entire career to get to that opening spot, and now you're saying
Hmm.
number 6 batsman is becoming an opener.
Hmm.
What are you going to do? It worked at some time. Now, for example, Dilshan, it worked, right? We were lucky it
Hmm.
worked, right? But
Yeah.
it doesn't happen always. It's once in a lifetime, once in a generation that it works, right?
Hmm.
I mean, we had Sanat happening a long time ago in 1996. Then it happened
Hmm.
again in the 2000s with Dilshan. But that's such a big gap, right?
Hmm.
So for each of these roles, we need to have layers. If it's
Hmm.
openers, you need to have at least 3 layers of openers ready to take their place. And that's what we
Hmm.
are doing. I mean, if you look at our
Yeah.
emerging teams, if you look at our A teams, we've got the same openers, right? So there are
Hmm.
3 layers now, which is being fixed. And you can replace them because they've got experience, they're going to A tours, they're playing a lot
Hmm.
of cricket, right?
Hmm.
So we're
Hmm.
building those layers. And it's very important. Fans don't understand that. You know, what's the difference between an opener and a one down batsman? I mean, it's the same
Yeah.
thing. No, it's not the same thing.
No.
There's
Yeah.
so much of things that go
Hmm.
on between just
Hmm.
one spot, right?
Yeah.
And this is why I said Mehdi has to decide where he's going to bat, and that's going to define his captaincy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just what the suggestion you made, I think Liton Das needs to be let go, all right?
Hmm.
With an average like that, he has to be let go. Get that batsman who is an opener, get him to be opener, not one down. Get him to
Hmm.
opener, get Mehdi to come up the order because he's a good player, and stick by him at maybe number 3 or number 4, and keep
Hmm.
him there, and settle this batting order as soon as possible. They might fail, that's okay.
Hmm.
Have faith in them and let them play. So if you entire career, if you had a role to play, you need to play that role in the national team. Simple as that.
Right.
And if you don't do that, I mean, it's not going to work at all.
Exactly. Now, I just want to ask you a bit about how big of a rivalry is Bangladesh Sri Lanka, especially right now. Bangladesh is playing in Sri Lanka. So, how passionate are
I
fans
just
about
lost you.
this rivalry?
I just lost you somewhere on that question.
Now,
Something wrong with the
um,
signal.
okay, I was asking about like how big this rivalry is of Bangladesh Sri Lanka in Sri Lanka. Like, are the Sri Lankan fans really passionate about this rivalry? We have seen so much. We saw yesterday a snake entered the field and people were saying like people were doing that Nagin celebration. So Like, how big of a rivalry is Bangladesh Sri Lanka?
Look, we both nations were very emotional,
Yeah,
right? We're very, very emotional. We might be angry one day, the next day we'll be the best of friends, right? So
yeah,
that's how, I don't know, Sri Lankans are at least, right? And you saw
yeah.
that in the test series, how Mushfiqur and Angie and all of them
Mm-hmm.
were, enjoying themselves and being very friendly.
Yeah,
Honestly, I think it was unnecessary, the rivalry. Um,
yeah,
to me, honestly, in the past, whatever happened during the Asia Cup and whatever happened in the World Cup,
yeah,
I think it's very uncricket like, right? I don't think any of that should have happened in the first place because I've been a massive fan of Bangladesh cricket, right? And for me, it was very surprising. As I said, I had a lot of Bangladeshi friends. My best friend was a Bangladeshi, and
mm,
we were still in touch. So for me, it was really surprising. I mean, what's going on here? Why are we so, at each other's throats when we shouldn't have been? But
mm,
things have happened. The rivalry is going to be there for a long time, and I think this whole troll culture, the troll generation, is going to carry this forward, no matter what the people do, the players do on the field.
mm,
Uh, it's fun also, but honestly, some of the things that happened over the years shouldn't have happened.
mm.
I think we should. I mean, why can't we play cricket in a friendly manner? Why do we have to be at each other's throats always?
True,
You
true.
can sledge, you can do whatever, and then that's it, right? It's all
Yeah.
fun and games. I just don't know why we've taken this rivalry to that extent. Um,
Mm,
it's fun. The rivalry is good when coming up to a tour, that is going to come, and then it brings the excitement amongst the fans. But I think
mm,
The Bangladeshis did a good job by being that friendly, brotherly in that test series. That was very important. I think for
mm,
me as a old school cricket fan, I
mm.
enjoy that much better than all that fighting and infighting and whatever happens on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're almost at the end now. I'm just gonna ask about the second ODI preview a bit. So do you think Sri Lanka will go with the same team?
I think we will. It also depends on how the wicket is going to look like. That's going to be an important factor. Milan Ratnaik has been a surprising inclusion for us. There's a lot of talk about his batting in the domestic structure, that he's a good batsman, and he's
Mm,
proving it little by little. I just feel he's moving out to be a very good all-rounder for Sri Lanka, and it's a surprising find, right? He just dropped out of the
mm,
sky from somewhere. Um, but this is a good headache for the selectors as well because I expected
mm.
Dunit Villalagi to be in,
Yeah.
not Milan Ratnagar. But now we have that option. So if the wicket is a bit pacey, if the wicket is a little bit less helpful for the spinners, we can get Milan Ratnagar in. And if it's a bit more beneficial for the spinners, if you think so, we can get Dunit Villalagi in. And these two are good. I mean, even Milan Ratnagar, the way he batted inside edge, yes, but he got a 22. He supported Charit Asalanka. And we can get that or much better from Dunit Villalagi when he comes into the side as well. Right? So I think we've got our answers better than Bangladesh. And I feel we might go with the same team because it's important. Every ODI game from now on for us is preparation for the World Cup in 2027. And for us, it's about getting our balance correct. It's about getting our team settled as soon as possible, right? So I think they'll give
Mm,
more opportunities to players
mm,
in series like this. So I don't think there'll be a lot of changes
mm.
unless the wicket has changed overnight, right? In the next couple of days, then we might see Dunit Lalage coming in also, but I think we'll go with the same settled setup. I don't think there'll be changes from Sri Lanka's point of view.
I was a bit surprised to see that neither Nuwan Tushara nor Matisha Patirana in the Sri Lankan ODI squad. But I have noticed that this has been going for a very long time. What is the reason for that?
So we spoke about the fast bowling units, right? The arsenal that Sri Lanka's got and Bangladesh has got. I think we've got a bigger arsenal of bowlers, right? And that is very good because if you look at Matisha Patran and Nuwan Tushara, both are T20 specialists rather than
Yeah,
getting them to bowl
yeah.
10 overs in an ODI. You might actually lose that benefit when it comes to T20. If they get injured, these guys will be gone for a long time, right? So we've
Mm,
got Dushman Samir in the bench. He's not in the squad also. We've got Lahir Kumara there, right? And we've got
mm,
a good pace attack, right? So we are. I think finally we've got, in terms of bowling at least, we've got these format specialists. Right? So Nuwan
mm,
Tushar and Matisha Karana, because Asita Fernando is bowling well, right? And we've got Milan Ratnayaka also in, and we've got Ishan Malinga also, right? And he's also a good T20 specialist as well. So when we have good bowlers there, why would we want to get them, get Matisha Patan and Nuwan Tushara to come in and risk that? We've got a
Mm.
T20 World Cup coming in 2026, right?
Yeah.
So I don't mind Matisha Patan and Nuwan Tushara not performing because Asata is a good bowler. He had an off day yesterday, but he's a good bowler and he's a fit bowler. And Ishan Malinga too, right? And with the new rule changes, Ishan Malinga and Asta Fernando are more likely to get reverse swing also, right?
Right.
So for me, what we're doing is good. Keeping them away, keep them with the T20 cricket. Let them focus there, and let's build this unit because we still got Lahiru Kumaro to come in. We still got Dushmanta Chamira also to come in if we have a problem with Ishan Malinga and Asif Fernando. So we've
Mm.
got that settled, and that's a very very good thing. A lot of fans don't notice this, but this is happening in Sri Lanka, and we've got a good deposit of bowlers who can actually come and replace whoever is the frontline pace bowlers. So Nuwan Tushara and Matisha Patra not being there, I don't have a problem. I don't see a
Is
problem there.
Dilshan Madhushanka injured?
He's not injured. He's in the squad. He's been in a bit of a rut, right, for the past year and a half. Whether it's international cricket or domestic, he's been struggling in the domestic circuit as well. He did a bit better in the National Super League that just finished. So that's why he got back into the Sri Lanka A side. He did, relatively well, but not to his peak the way he played in the Asia Cup when we won it. So he's also being kept in the dressing room, right? We have that left arm option then. So he's not injured, but he's also an option who, for me, is not 100%. And for him to be in the dressing room, I think that's good for his confidence as well.
Yeah. No, I think yeah. I was a bit curious about these because Sri Lanka. I mean, Dushmanta Chamira, Dilshan Madhushanka, Pattirana, Tushara. They have all troubled Bangladesh like for a very long time. I still remember Tushara going into that Sylhet game. It was his debut game and getting bowls. So many bowls. Bangladesh was, I think, so, yeah. Bangladesh was struggling a lot. So, and we have always hated the fact that Sri Lanka has got so many slingers from Malinga to Pattirana to Tushara. We have always hated that fact. And I mean, I was seeing one thing that to learn to face these bowlers, Bangladesh bought in a slinger from Sri Lanka, just a practice bowler, but he didn't have that much pace and swing as much as what Pattirana or Tushara has got. So yeah,
We've got
I
one
mean,
more. We've got another kid coming up also. His name is Garuka Sanket. He played in the under 19 World Cup also, the last one that happened. So we got more slingers coming through the ranks.
no, I mean, what's got with Sri Lanka, and they have always got like mystery bowlers. They got the three slingers, then they've got a mystery spinner in Mahesh Theekshana, and then they've got the spinner Ratnayake, the one that played in Test, who can bowl both right arm and left arm. I think Kamindu can do that as well, right?
Yes, Kamil can do that. He's an ambidextrous bowler as well. It's just
Yeah,
that
that word,
probably,
yeah.
the coaching, yeah, ambidextrous. So coaching setups, we don't change much, right? We don't try. There was a time when they did, but then now they don't, right? For the recent past, they don't actually go and change bowlers a lot, right? So, and they've been given that opportunity to experiment. I hope I can hear you. This whole thing just got stuck now. Um,
I can,
can
yeah,
you hear me?
yeah.
Very bad internet connection. Okay. Yeah, so I don't think the coaches change a lot. I mean, even a youngster trying something, they won't change. And that has worked because we've got people who come up and become successful with these things, right?
Mm.
So, maybe the time when we used to play cricket, I mean, we would have got a smack on our head for bowling that way. But now they don't, right? Because it has worked. I mean, you've seen the Malingas, you've seen the Ajanta Mendises and all of that.
Mm.
So they let them experiment also. They'll probably tweak a little bit here and there, but otherwise they won't change these guys from doing things. And it has worked for
I
us,
think the
right?
board needs to be appreciated here because what in Bangladesh, if you don't bowl like that, if you don't maintain a disciplined bowling, and especially what we have seen with the leg spinner, the issue with Bangladesh and leg spinners. Right now, we have got Rishad at least, but the thing is with Bangladesh, if you are a leg spinner and if you're bowling fast, if you give a bit pace on the ball, you are considered to be not a material for international cricket. But right now, Bangladesh is changing that bit, and that is why Rishad has been, to some extent, successful. I think Rishad still has got a lot to do, but I think somewhere Bangladesh is trying to find a different element. We are also trying to find some mystery spinners, because I think this is what makes Sri Lanka a unique team right now. We're talking about the pitch and whatnot, but I mean Sri Lanka right now, they've got a very good bowling attack, both spinners and pacers. Especially in T20 cricket, Sri Lanka can be a very. I think they were very unlucky in the last T20 World Cup. They lost against us. That was a thriller, and very lucky that we won that game. But I mean, yeah. But Sri Lanka really deserved. I think they performed really bad against South Africa. But if they could win that game, probably Sri Lanka could have qualified. I mean, I've been monitoring Sri Lankan cricket. I think right now, like the stage we are at right now, Bangladesh cricket, Sri Lanka was going through that stage, I think, couple of years back, but they've
Yes.
overcame that, and right now they've got a settled team. I like especially Pathum Nisanka, what a batsman he is. Like, I think he's one of Asia's best right now. There's no denying that. And
Yes,
they've
for
also
sure.
got, yeah, they've Charit Asalanka, very very good captain, like, and a captain who can handle pressure well. Shanto was a good captain as well, but he couldn't handle, like, Shanto's. It's either Shanto's captaincy or Shanto's form. So there wasn't a balance between them. Yeah, but Charit Asalanka has got that
I think
balance. So
we've got
that's why Sri
we
Lanka. Hmm.
see this whole captaincy issue in South Asian countries is a mess, right? We
Yeah.
think that if a batsman is really good, he should be captain. That's not the way it works, right?
Yeah.
You need to understand, how psychologically how players face captaincy. I mean, if you look at all the best captains in the world, they've been amazing under pressure, right? That's their forte, right? I mean, it's like, we say for fun, when you put an egg into boiling water, it gets hardened, right? And that's the kind of captain we want. We don't want a potato. When you put a potato in hot water, it just
Mm.
melts, right? We can't have captaincy like that. You need to have captains who are good. They might not play well when the going is good, right? They might
Yeah.
not, right? But when the
Yeah.
going goes bad, they really take up and they do well. And Charit Asalanka, I've been pushing for Charit Asalanka to be captain for a long time. They announced three formats, three captains at one stage, and Charit Asalanka was vice captain in the white ball format. And from that day on, even at that time, I was like, no, this is the guy. Kusal Mendes is not a captain material. Let him bat. Don't take that responsibility
Mm.
off his head. Let him bat. And this is why I like Mehdi. This is why I like Mehdi, and I think Mehdi can do it. And I think even Jaker Ali is a good captain in the future. I don't know how he has been in the domestic level, how his captaincy is, but I think he's got that heart. He's got that, focus. When things are bad, he needs to win, right? And that mentality is really important. And that's how you need to pick a captain. And I think they've got it right with Mehdi Hassan Miraz. I just hope he's being given the freedom to be him
Mm.
without being a
Yeah.
Shakib Al Hassan or being a Mashraf Murtaza or being a Mushfiqur Rahim. He needs to be him. And if that can be achieved, I think even for Bangladesh, it's going to be a great future ahead. You spoke about our bowling unit. We've got a very good bowling unit, and Mahesh Deekshana especially brings that key aspect into it because even if it's a faster wicket, if it's a wicket that the ball skids on, we can bring him in the power plays. We can give him the new ball, and that brings an extra advantage to the side as well, and more versatility for the captain to work with. So he's not exact for me. He's not exactly a spinner, right? To me sometimes he's a medium pacer who can bowl cutters, right? And that works when if it's a fast bowling wicket, if it's a wicket that ball comes on the bat, it really works. And I think we've got a very very good bowling unit. We need to fix our batting. We're still not there. We still not haven't found the proper opening combination. Patul Nisanka is just great. He's one of the most hardworking players I've seen for a long,
Mm.
long time, and results are
Mm.
showing. All the other, I'm not saying everyone else is not hardworking, but this guy is on a different level in terms of the effort he puts to getting ready, to going into series. He puts in a lot of hard work. Amazing. I mean, it's amazing to see our cricket actually putting our heads up. Hopefully, we can, brush off these ICC events issues in the future. Forget all about it and go into the next World Cup, 26, 27 both. And I think we can surprise a lot of teams.
I just want to add one thing. Right now, Bangladesh cricket, like right now, the popularity has gotten so down right now for Bangladesh cricket because our cricket team has been performing so bad, and that's why they are also blaming the captain. Yesterday's loss, some of them are blaming. They're saying Miraj is not performing. Why is he given the captain? I mean, there was nothing Miraj could do as a captain better like what he did yesterday. I think 240 in that deck was. I to be honest, Bangladesh, like three bowlers got really tired. If they bowled to their absolute best, I think we could have maybe restricted Sri Lanka under 220 ish. But I think the batsman's got to take responsibility for Bangladesh. Even like in the second game, if the batsmen don't take responsibility, we just have to see another series loss. And I don't know how Bangladesh is going to come back from the big loss they had. Uh, Today, I was going through the news. I saw that Sri Lankan team went on to practice, but Bangladesh team is taking a rest. I think to some extent, I do agree with that. After such a horrific night, I think I was seeing Taskin's press conference. He was saying that he was chilling in the dressing room. He was having a cup of coffee, and then he comes around and
Having a
sees,
coffee.
yeah, yeah, and then he comes around and sees five wickets are down, and he was like, how did that happen? Like from 100 for one, we are 105 for eight. Like that is like I don't know how does that happen, but I mean. Going into the second game, Bangladesh has got a lot
I
of
was
stuff.
surprised too.
Yeah, no, everyone was surprised. I mean, honestly, like I was scared when I saw that Shanto was gone and spinners were in. I thought that maybe we might have a collapse, but I never thought we would be 105 for 8. I thought maybe we would be like 200 for 7, 200 for 6, but that 105 for 8, that's like no team can explain that. And let me be brutally honest, like Bangladesh is not that bad of a team. I mean, against Sri Lanka in ODIs, we have been good.
It's not.
I don't know what happened in Colombo last night, but Bangladesh needs to come back really strongly for their fans. We fans deserve much. At least we
I think
deserve
it's
a
the
fight.
same thing that happened with the top order, right?
Yeah.
See, there's a lot of strategizing that goes in dressing rooms these days. A lot of strategizing, lot of analysis, and then what happens with these massive strategizing and analysis is the fact that it gets stuck in your head. So you know this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and you actually don't play the ball as it is, right?
Yeah.
That happened in the top order also. It, and even if you look at Bangladesh, when they came out to bat, they were looking for runs. They knew that when the ball changes, when the ball is going to get worn off a bit, it's going to start turning. Let's score as much as possible, and they did it
Mm.
properly. What
Mm.
they failed to, what didn't click for them was when they started losing because they panicked. Right? They're like, oh
Yes.
shit, this is happening. This happened to
Yeah.
India. This happened to Australia. This is going to
Yeah.
happen to us as well. And they
Yeah.
didn't play the ball. They played the strategy, right? And the
Mm.
same thing happened with the Sri Lankans. We went into bat. The first 2 overs we couldn't get a run on the board, right? And then we started panicking. Batting wicket, we need to score as much as possible during the power play. We started playing our shots. We are not playing the wicket. We are playing the strategy. And that is
Mm.
something that we need to work on. I think more teams have to work on. Yes, strategy is important. Yes, planning is important. But when you go to the ground, you can assess the best. You know how the wicket is performing. You can see what's happening because until you play on the wicket, you don't know what's happening, right? You
Yeah.
strategize on the table. And when you come in, you know, okay, this is behaving a bit different, right? We need to be, I mean, if you saw the first 2 overs, the way Taskin and who was that?
Uh,
Mustafil, who opened the
Mustafiz.
bowling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you saw that extra bounce, we should have said, look, we need to change things. Let's settle down. Let's wait till we get an understanding of how the bounce is and then play. We didn't do that. Even Kamil this is shot to mid off, the ball
Mm.
bounced a bit more than he expected,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
And it hit the top of the bat. So this is the problem. You strategize a lot in the dressing room. When you come, you play the strategy. You shouldn't play the strategy. You need to play what's on the wicket.
Yeah, I
And
think
that's
yes.
one key thing that Bangladesh needs to do.
Yeah, and I mean the analysts should go through this, and I think, as you mentioned, that this was in fact a psychological thing. Like what happened to Australia, what happened to India, we are not better than them, so we're definitely going to
Yes,
lose
we are
from this
not.
point. Yeah, so we're definitely going to lose from this point,
We
and
should
Sri
trust.
Lanka,
We should
yeah,
trust ourselves. We should trust our strengths. You're a good team. That's why you're a national. You're a national player because you're a good player. That's why
yeah,
you've gotten
because
there out of
the
millions of people.
mm, When Bangladesh was 100 for one, the commentator that I think uh, it was forgot Russell Arnold. Russell Arnold was saying that okay, if one ball turns, this game is going to turn. Sri Lankan fans don't lose hope. If one ball turns, and then they see Charita Slanka, they almost got Shanto. Charita Slanka almost got Shanto. I think there was not an edge, but the ball did turn.
Yeah.
And when that thing happened, Sri Lanka was like, okay, we're gonna bring in Hasaranga right now, but Shanto's wicket was a bonus. That was a bonus for Sri Lanka.
Yes. And I think even Charita Sri captaincy there, as soon as Shanto got out, he got in a slip for Tansid. Right?
Yes,
He got in a
yes,
slip. He put the pressure there. He knew he had mid off in. He knew the kid is going to go for it. Right? Inexperienced player. His senior most guy is out, and the guy who even got blasted by Santa the ball before, I think, for not taking the double. And he knew he's going to get pressured. Good captaincy, brought in a slip and said, "Look, you ball is turning, buddy. What are you going to do?" And he just fell for the trap, and Janati again picked the wicket. So I think it's a mental game, especially in Sri Lanka. But cricket itself is a mental game, and you have to be very strong.
and cricket is like so funny game. We say cricket is a funny game. If you see, same thing almost happened with Charita Salanka when he was on 78 or something. Litonda started to celebrate. He thought that it was a run out, but uh, but Charita Salanka survived and then he went on to score. If Charita Salanka got out that time, I think Sri Lanka would have ended up before
Correct.
200. So
Exactly,
I
and
think
that was
yes,
the difference.
yeah.
That was the Chahit Aslanka was the difference in this game. Whether we like it or not,
Mm.
that's the truth. He went on, he scored that 100, and I think Tanzil, he got that start. He should have gone got that 100. If he did, right, because he didn't get out. Remember, right?
Yeah,
Tanzil didn't get out. He got himself out. Right, good catch by
yeah.
Janit Lianage.
No, but the
Got
catch was
due
too
credit there.
good. The catch was too good.
So good.
Yeah.
But that was not his play at that time. He should have rotated
Yeah.
strike. And if he was there, there's confidence. You have a settled batsman on the other end. He was going at what at run a ball.
Yeah.
The pressure would have been off the other batsman. So
No, but the thing,
it's
yeah,
he has time. He's young.
no, yeah. I think the thing with Parvez Hussain Imon and Tanzit Tamim, our both openers are they're gonna hit the ball. They're not gonna be a player
Correct.
who's going to be someone like Mushfiqur Rahim. If you saw his 100 in a goal, it was a classic, like a classic player innings,
Yeah.
right? Keep on seeing the balls, play the ball on its merits. But Tanjit Tamim is not a batsman like that. He's going to hit. Like even if you see the second over against
I
Mahesh
think I
Shamak,
think Tanzid
yeah,
is the Patum Nisanka.
yeah,
I think Tanzid. I had that feeling when I saw Imon and Tanzid bat. I think it's a good combination, right? I think they should stick by this because Imon especially he looks really strong. Um, I think we should go with the combination, but I think Tanzid, when he matures as a player, he will turn into that Patum Nisaka mode where he will know that he needs to score big, right?
mm,
Let him all do whatever he's doing because that's the way he bats, right? But
yeah,
this guy, he's got a little bit more sense.
mm,
And I think if they keep faith in him, which like we did with Patum Nisaka, I think he's going to be a good talent and I think he's going to be a good servant. If he can actually get to a place, especially in ODI cricket, to play those big innings. For me, honestly, I've always said, if you're a top four batsman in ODI cricket, if you get to 50, you need to make it a big one.
right,
There's no excuse for it. You have to make a big one because of your top four batsmen, if one guy gets a big score, everybody else can bat around him and you can get to do that 300 mark. Right? So I think Tanzit's got that. And for us, it's Patum Nisanka, who is the guy who's going to go, score the big one. Yes, we got Kusal Mendes and Charita Salanka and all of those other batsmen, who can actually bat around these good batsmen. So this combination looks good. Hopefully, Tanzil learns this, and I hope he gets another good score tomorrow as well, because I think they're
mm.
looking at a good batsman for the future.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think in the next game, Bangladesh just might go for one change, unless Mustafiz is unfit, because I don't see Tanvir Islam being replaced by Rishad, because Rishad has been performing. I mean, Tanvir did perform really well. But if Bangladesh thinks that they like we don't have a genuine sixth bowler, Shanto had to ball. He surprisingly got a wicket, but I mean, he's still not a ball. So if Bangladesh looks for that extra bowling option, they might think of either dropping. They might think of dropping Tohid Ridoy and bringing in Rishad, but that would be too risky for us. I don't see that
Yeah, I
happening.
just think so.
I the only change that can happen from this point is Liton or Ridoy being dropped and Naim Sheikh brought in. Except that, I don't see any
I just
changes
think
happening here.
Lytton is the place you have to look at. Um, Honestly, because the top order needs to be bulked up, and I don't know who can replace him.
Yeah,
I'm not very clear of who is in the squad, but I think that's where the change is. And Rida is a guy who also can handle pressure, and he can bowl as well. So I
yeah.
hope they don't panic. Right, these things happen. I hope the selectors don't panic and they just make the correct decision going into the second ODI.
So going into the second game, what's your prediction for the second game and the third game?
They're tough to beat. It's simple as that. It's not going to be easy to beat us, and especially now, right? Now that we've got more confidence, we know. I mean, see now our guys are like, even if it's 150 for one, we know somewhere it's going to click, right? Because we've done it, right? And we'll have that confidence. We'll probably lose the game, but still we'll have that confidence, right? And that's what
Yeah,
happens in games like this, and that's what Bangladesh gave away, right? They went from 100, 105 to 8, 100 for one, 105 for eight. And once that happens, the other team is in. Everybody's talking about Sri Lanka's fielding. Sri Lanka's fielding improved with that.
yeah. Sri Lanka's fielding
That
improved
first
so much
run out,
from the
yes.
test matches.
Our guys are, even us, the mental stability is a problem, right? And we just become really confident. I said this in the live also. If Vanidhi Hasaranga gets a wicket in the first over, he's going to go get two, three wickets. That's for sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how we work, and we are going to go in with that confidence, right? Um, and see this even in the batsman's head will be working, right? We got 240, 244. We still managed to win. Now we don't need to panic. Let's look at 250. Let's back to that, right? So again, that also helps. So if you look at it that way, I think I
I
think the
think
series will end.
I think the biggest the the thing I'm most scared of right now is if Bangladesh in the next match sees that they lost the toss and see Sri Lanka scoring something around 230 to 40, Bangladesh might panic again.
Panic again.
Yeah,
Yes, that's going to happen.
that is exactly what I'm scared of. But if Bangladesh wins the toss, that time it will be interesting because that time Sri Lanka will be
Yes.
like, okay, we have got to think of something different right now. So I think the toss will play a crucial factor in the game, but I really hope that Bangladesh thinks like toss. It's you can't control it. You will. I mean, Sri Lanka has been really lucky. They have
Right.
been winning the tosses. They won against India, Australia, and now against Bangladesh as well. But toss is something we can't control. We need to. I think analysis needs to be used here very much. Cricket is a sport where I think analysts gotta make sure they're on their best. Because I mean, if you look especially at Afghanistani spinners, they're like unbelievable. I think Sri Lanka has got decent spinners, but Afghanistan has got even better.
Yeah.
I think. So I think at right now,
Better.
going
Yes.
into the second game, Bangladesh needs to rethink and forget about what happened. Honestly, like you need to just forget about what happened. Like, I mean, if you keep on thinking about that,
It's
you're gonna have a panic.
traumatizing, but
Yeah,
it's
it's
massively traumatizing what happened yesterday, and
yeah,
it's not going to be easy to forget it.
yeah,
It's like one of those toxic girlfriends. You won't be able to forget it, but it's painful as well. And
yeah,
the better you forget it as soon as possible. It's going to be tough, but I think that is the benefit Sri Lanka is going to have going into the second ODI,
yeah.
even if we lose the toss. Right? We'll have that confidence because we have confidence in our fast bowlers as well. I mean, we didn't even use Milan Ratnaik. I think we didn't use Milan Ratnaik. We didn't, right?
No, no, you didn't need to
Um,
ball Milan or
we
Yashan
did,
Malinga. They just bowl,
right.
I
So
think, one over. Yeah.
yeah, so I think we'll be confident. I mean, I'll be disappointed if we don't win the second ODI after this.
Yeah.
I mean, that will give us also space for the third ODI. We can make changes, right, and see, test our bench strength as well. So for me, sorry, but I think we are going to go ahead and finish the series in the next game.
But I just want to tell you
I hope
one thing.
Bangladesh proves me wrong so that the third ODI becomes interesting.
No, no, yeah, yeah. No, I'm just gonna end on saying one thing. if you see the scorecard of Bangladesh Afghanistan, first game we were in a stage, the target was something around 230, and we were exactly on something around like 100 for 100 for 2. Shanto was batting nicely, and then I think there was Shomo Sarkar, and then Shanto got out, Shomo got out, and then the team was bowled out for 150, 160. But then we came back on the second game. We defeated Afghanistan by a huge margin, and the third game we lost. Third game was a good one though. So I just have a feeling if Bangladesh can do things right, maybe we can win the second one. But again, I just want to see a good thriller contest in Colombo
I think
because
they should be
both.
watching that match today. They
yeah,
should be watching that
yeah,
match
yeah,
today,
yeah, yeah,
tomorrow on repeat. I mean,
yeah,
that will help.
yeah. That definitely help. But I hope for a good game. I hope Bangladesh compete because this is such a pitch we can see a low scoring thriller. And when I say a
Correct.
low scoring thriller in cricket, especially in ODI cricket, there's nothing better than a low scoring thriller. Even high scoring
Exactly.
thrillers aren't fun in ODI cricket. It might be
Exactly.
fun in Test cricket. We saw that in England India Test match, or even in the Bangladesh Sri Lanka Gaul Test. There was a chance Bangladesh could win that one. But in ODI cricket, there's nothing better than a low scoring thriller, and that is why I
Definitely.
personally enjoy the Asian conditions more. So let's see what happens. And it was really nice talking with you. And good insights into Sri Lankan cricket. I mean, we're all Asian fans. We all know how passionate we are about the game. We are the ones taking cricket to great heights, and we want these to continue. But we also want our teams to perform. And especially, I don't know if you have seen this or not. In Sri Lanka, this is right now a meme. There is a YouTuber. I think his name is Thayir Chetty or something. So he does funny
Yes,
skits.
yes, I've been watching that. Yeah,
And so
yeah.
yeah, so
Fun guy.
there's a Bangladeshi YouTuber. He was showing the Champions Trophy jersey, and then the Sri Lankan guy was saying that you have only Champions Trophy jersey. We have Champions Trophy, and and then he was also saying
There was
RCB
another
RCB.
one. There was another one. There was another
Yeah.
one. One run out, team all out.
Yeah. Memes all about
Same guy.
Bangladesh. Yeah. And I mean, yesterday also Bangladesh was doing some celebrations when they got. I think Taskin and Shanta was doing some celebrations. So Sri Lankan fans got pissed a bit, and then they were showing the Nagin dance again when we lost. So I mean, these will go through. That's what makes Bangladesh Sri Lanka rivalry so special. But let's hope for a really good game in Colombo, the second ODI.
Super. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Let's hope we can do this again. It was fun.
yeah,
Let's enjoy the cricket. And one small message for Bangladeshi fans. I think you need to calm down, right? And let
yeah.
Mohidi do his job. Let him grow on his own. Don't compare him to anyone, and give him that space to be
Hmm.
to actually bring out his talents and make a new team in Bangladesh. Yes, transition mode for a long time, but at least now if he can change, I think it'll be
Yeah.
good.
Okay. Thank you again.
All right. Thank you. Good night.